Hey, it's Eli aka Atlas, and today's video is fulfilling the request and answering a question from Peter Palmiotti, whom on a video I did a while back asked, how does one stand out in a crowd? It's a good question since the market for artists of every kind, from visual art to music, is constantly overcrowded. How do you get noticed and basically stay productive, profitable, and original? Before I begin the monologue, I will preface this with the same thing that I told Peter. I'm probably not the best person to ask for this kind of info since it's an ongoing battle. I myself am still fighting. But since this is basically an opinion piece, I'll share my thoughts on it with you guys. My first suggestion goes against everything else I'm going to say about individuality, but at the same time is the most important and valid point I can make. Make sure your work is commercial. If you've seen any number of video interviews with Stan Lee of Marvel Comics, quite a legend, he often gets asked what the best way to get into the comic industry is, and his advice applies to every industry under the sun. Make sure you can compete with everyone who's already there, and this is the ability to self-assess. For example, I do take pride in my skills and abilities, but I'm rarely proud of a single work I do. And the reason for that is because I'm always looking for what I can improve and comparing it to my personal favorite pieces of art. Once you're finished with a piece, you should be able to stand up, look down at it, and ask yourself, would I buy this? If the answer is yes, then definitely be proud of yourself. If you're looking at it and honestly can think of a dozen other things you would spend your money on, then you still have a long way to go. My advice is just work on your total skill set overall, because sometimes it can be hard for people to see where you're going with it, but if you keep on sharpening your abilities, the critiques that will come will fall more in line with your own vision of your own art and what you should actually be improving. On the same note, I think you should also work on becoming a total package. Pencils, inks, and, as happened for me, learning colors as well. Not just because it is extremely useful to know and makes you a versatile artist, but because it does make it a bit easier getting even more work. Just my 2 cents on the matter. The key to standing out and essentially your own success is being very honest with yourself. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have fun and make things you enjoy and have some confidence. It just means that you're always aware of the fact that you can and will do better in the future. The second tip is marketing. And this topic is so much bigger than what I even know, since marketing is extremely technical and essentially there are no hard-coded rules. My one tip would be this: find your lane and stay in it. I'm a comic artist, so I don't purport to know how to do video game coding or something like that. Keep in mind that I have done some light coding in the past, but do I feel confident to charge people money for my extremely limited coding skills? No. Do I feel like I can charge money for my years and years worth of artistic knowledge and experience? Absolutely. This doesn't mean you should ever pigeonhole yourself into one genre. I love it when comic artists break into different sectors, like how Joe Mad went on from making the Battle Chasers comic to creating and designing the Darksiders video game series. That's definitely possible. I've done art for trading card games and am creating designs with the crew for a 3D isometric RPG game, which is still in progress. But to get in the door and be able to market yourself efficiently, you need to aim for a target and shoot. Also, you'll be less likely to wear yourself out trying to fill every position your client needs, from marketer to artist to musician to site designer. Trust me, there are guys who specialize in all of those things, and they'll have a lot more fun doing one of those than you will trying to do all of it. Tip 3 is a short one and a bit of a life hack. Make a lot of connections and never turn anyone down outright. Does this mean you should take whatever comes your way and never get rid of the clutter in your life? Not at all. What it means is, while you're out marketing and finally get yourself an audience, you're probably going to eventually get swamped with requests. I've been there for the past couple of months, so I'm telling you from experience. If you're doing too much, it's okay to turn some people down. But that doesn't mean you always have to. If you can see a break in the horizon, mention it. I'll use a recent situation for example. Let's say you're hired and working on an 8-page comic pitch. Plus the colors, that's a lot of work. It's like doing 16 pages from scratch yourself, basically. You get 2 more pitches in your email, and there's only 24 hours in a day, and no way you can finish all those pages within the month, along with the regular series you're working on. Don't say, sorry I can't help you, to the inquiries. Just let them know your schedule. that you're almost done, and you should give them a rough estimate. It doesn't have to be exact. And then let them know you'll absolutely get back to them. Make sure you take their info, read their synopsis and whatever like that, just to lock them in and get a conversation going. Now you've got work lined up for the future. And if the client you finished the 8-pager for likes you, he may recommend you to some friends. Even more work lined up. In closing, the art world is an extremely competitive place, and is in a constant state of flux. The beauty of it is that there's no right or wrong way of creating art. The most important thing you're going to need to deal with and overcome is yourself first and foremost. Once you're at a level where you know for sure you can compete with and even outdo some of your peers, make sure your marketing game is on point. Find the audience and cater to them specifically. As you gain more attention, branch out. Finally, make contact, keep contact, and have your work lined up. Standing out is tricky, but never risky, because the fresher the style, the more welcomed it is. While you should make sure your work is comparable to your peers, you should always retain your artistic identity. Hone the artistic qualities you like in your own art. For example, I like using negative space and different effects like that. So those were tricks I made sure I specialized in. People started knowing me for things like that, and the products basically sold itself. So you should always strive to improve your work and abilities, because someone, somewhere in the world, whom you may or may not ever meet, is trying to outwork you and outshine you right now at the same time, and at the same thing you're doing. Even as you're watching this video. And I know you're absolutely not going to let that happen. Now, make sure you like this video, give it a thumbs up, make sure you share it around if you found the information and my opinion helpful. Definitely leave your comments and suggestions for the next video, as Peter Palmiotti did, which led to the creation of this video. And do you disagree with any of the points I made? Or do you have anything to add to it? Get a discussion going in the comments, and thank you for watching.